Dee dum da dee dum dee dum dee dee dum dee dee dum dum dee da dee dee da dee dum dee dee dum dum dee dum dee die 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 dee dum dee dum dee dum da dee dum dee die 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 So we're going to make some lovely lacto-fermented salsa with beautiful ripe tomatoes. I have rinsed them already, I think. Yeah. And I'm just going to chop it by hand. Going to make some whey. We're just going to get some whey, which is to inoculate it, so we get the beautiful probiotics into the salsa. That's what we want to grow. That's what's gonna all drip through here. That's what's gonna eat all the sugars in the vegetables and give us a beautiful product. So I'm going to change the recipe. It's a recipe I made some years ago. You can do this in a food processor if you like, but I'm just going to chop it by hand today. So I'm going to need about 6 to 8 tomatoes. This one. So wonderful, these fermented vegetables, because they're so easy to digest. They are really pre-digested, and they do stimulate the digestion very much. Very tasty. So I think that was 4, 5. 6. And you can just do this in so many ways. put the salt in. And that's always good to have, because it actually kills off any bad bacteria and also is an activator for the process. I'll put an apple in there, which is good to really, because there's so much sugar in it, it's good to get the fermentation process going quickly. You just have to watch out with fruit because it does produce alcohol very quickly. So it's only going to be fermenting for 2 days, this. And if I find when I finished it and it's finished fermenting and I find it's still too coarse, I can always just blend it. But it is nice that there's some chunks in there. And I'm supposed to use chili, but I haven't got that. So I'm gonna just use some cayenne pepper. Try that much, see how hot it gets. Cayenne pepper is really good for you. Good stuff. And we want some oregano. About a half a teaspoon of dried oregano. And I've actually tried to dry some tomatoes because I was supposed to have some a can of the tomato paste, but I really don't want that. So I'm just going to throw these in because it's just to make it a little bit thicker. And I just did this yesterday. Put it into a wood stove oven, which is not very hot, and they're lovely, good looking. That will just suck up some of the moisture. And I also bought some. I might just add a couple more. Because I mean, all canned things are best to avoid if we can. It is always best with the real food. Just chop these a little bit. And here the peppers. These are organic ones. It's all organic, really. And they're a little bit old, a little bit wrinkly, but that does not really matter. It's going to be fermented. So often they're cheaper in the shops, or because they just throw them out. So luckily in Denmark, we've realized that so much food was being thrown out, so you can buy the old stuff much cheaper. So it's a wonderful way to not waste. And I find red pepper can be a bit hard to digest just raw, but in this it's better. So good. It's really sharp, this knife. I have to watch it. But it is wonderful to have sharp tools. And it is lovely to not use the machines, because I mean it's just as they did in old times, and you can put more love into the food, more presence. putting some extra. I was only supposed to put one in there of these, but I'll put 2 in this time. Okie dokie. See if we've got some whey here. Got about a tablespoon. I need some more, but it will come. It just needs to drain off. You can start stirring it and squashing it. Just squash it up. You want to get the juices out of the tomatoes. It's nice. Get your fingers in there. Looks wonderful. And really you don't have to add the whey because there is so much, so many probiotics in there already, just on the vegetables. So I'll just put some water into this. It's best not to use plastic, but I just find this method the easiest. So I think I'll just stop here with this. This is fine. So we can get this. There's a little bit of milk in there. It's best to actually not have the milk, but there's some sort of whey there. So just keep it all very simple. Keep it all real simple. I will get this in here. There we go. If you don't like using your hands, of course you can just use a spoon or something. I like to use my hands. And we can just scrape off the rest. And we're just going to press it in here. We can see all the water coming up. Oh, can you see it? It's a bit dark here. You can see. I hope there's enough light here. Oh yeah. I don't know if there's enough light. Put the plastic on. So here we have our tomato salsa, and I'm going to leave it here up on the shelf for about 2 days. And I just put it on a plate because it's actually, it can drip over the side. And tomorrow I'll just make sure to press it down because it does bubble. And when I think it's nice tasting, I'll put it in the fridge. And we have this for beautiful homemade cheese or anything we like, maybe with meat or any egg would be nice. So there we go. So this is the first, it's the first day, so was yesterday I made this. You can see how it's nearly running over and it's bubbling beautifully. I'll just give it a bit of a stir. See all the bubbles coming up. So it's fermenting beautifully. And it smells lovely. I haven't put garlic or onion in because I don't eat that. But if you want to add that, of course, you can do that. Put the lid back on and leave it for tomorrow. So here's my wonderful tomato salsa, which is absolutely gorgeous tasting. I put some olive oil, extra virgin olive oil on, and I'm having it with some one of my homemade flaxseed buns and some ghee and some cheddar cheese and some basil and some I think it's called mustard lettuce. So good. Praise the Lord.